Hey everybody, today I'm going to be showing you a portrait I recently done of John Wayne. This is just on a piece of paper, 28 by 22 inches, completely done with airbrush, Grex airbrush gun and compressor. And this one's just going to be all black and white, no color today. And we're starting off with just an opaque black, thinned down with some airbrush cleaner. This took me about maybe 10 minutes to sketch up. It's just some simple shapes. We're kind of going with a silhouette feel here, but we'll be going in afterwards and adding some shading to make it just a hair more realistic. A lot of these portraits I do I'm not really going for any photorealism, just some subtle suggestions of facial features and whatnot. And right here we're up pretty close, getting in some dark colors. Just throwing in the basic shapes. Working with this airbrush, usually tend to stick pretty close when doing line work. You'll have a little bit more control and your lines will be a little bit thicker and you won't have so much overspray. And as you notice, I've got a pretty big reservoir on there, so I've got a lot of paint in there, so I don't have to keep going back and forth refilling. And right there we're adding a little shade into his nose and everything, and coming around on the chin here. And this was just a basic photo I found on the internet, of course with his bandana and famous cowboy hat. And we're coming around here on the other eye. I usually try to focus quite a bit on the eyes. I think that's the most important feature on any portrait, or at least in my opinion. And just coming around here, working on the other eye, trying to get it set up good. And a lot of these silhouette pieces I work on tend to look like stencil art at first. They're almost graffiti work, but that's really not what I'm going for. And here I am just stepping back, making sure I'm going in the right direction. Often I'll work on a piece and be up close to it for a few minutes at a time and realize that I'm not going in the direction I want to, so always important to step back and see where you're going. And as you can see right here, we're shading in a little bit on his handkerchief around his neck. It's important to note that when I'm doing this, I'm not giving a full pull on the trigger. I'm squeezing it about halfway, and that's just allowing just enough paint to come out so it gives that grainy effect. There's a setting on the back of on the air gun here that you can actually twist in or out, and it would allow a full pull, a half pull, or a quarter pull on the gun itself. So you can actually set it up to where you'll only be allowing so much paint to come out of the needle. But I typically leave it full wide open. I usually have pretty good control with it. And right here we're shading in the hat. And as you can see, I'll get a little closer on the darker areas, and then once I get to the middle, I'll kind of back off, and this will give us that grainy shaded effect. Right here, all I'm doing is just twisting the gun to the side, kind of working my way outward in. And once again, when I'm shading here around his face and on the handkerchief, I'm just giving a light pull on the trigger. We're not giving it a full blast. We're not wanting too much paint to come out, or else we'd be shooting black blots everywhere. And the bottom of the shirt and the handkerchief here, I'm just shading it in. We're just giving subtle suggestions of his clothes wrinkling here and there. We're not actually getting too detailed into it. And we're shading around the eye and the lips here. Almost gives it the look of a black and white photo, even though we're not really going for that. We're just shooting into the background here, and as you can see, I'm pretty far away from the paper and just pretty loose with it. I'm not holding the gun too steady. We're just letting the paint flow around on the edges. Almost gives it a grainy, smoky feel on the background. And as you can see here, I did run out of a little paint, but I had plenty mixed up. And just darkening the edges a little bit here and there just to give it a cool effect. And here we are, signing the name. Well, and there you have it, a quick portrait of John Wayne. I think total paint drawing time was about 25 to 30 minutes. Well, everyone, thanks for watching.